Let's introduce who we've got here playing at this table and who they're playing. Chad, how about you first?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Chad Yarish, and I am playing Samarand Ludd, a half-elf. And that's about all you need to know at the moment, I think.
A half-elf? How old is Sam?
Currently, I'm 12 years old.
All right. Let's go to Brandon. Brandon, who you got?
Hi, my name's Brandon, and I play Sylfira Eventide, an Aasimar cleric of the Twilight Domain and lawful follower of Selûne.
And how old is Sylfira when we are beginning here?
She is 10 and 2 years, so also 12.
All right. Callie, what do we got?
Hi, I'm Callie. I'm playing Tana. She does not have a last name. She is a gnome, and she is 35 years old, which is still a child in gnome years.
Okay. Ashton.
So I am playing Thorn. Thorn is a Goliath child, although he hit puberty with a vengeance. I decided to hold off on him being max size for his race. Yet he's still 12, but he's about 280 pounds, well over 7 feet tall. Yeah, he is a giant, quite semi-literally.
He's a giant as children go, for certain.
For sure.
Especially when there's Tana standing next to him, which maybe goes to his knee.
Yeah.
And is, 3 times the age? How old is Thorn? Even though he's big.
He's 12. He is 12
he's
years
12.
old. Yeah.
All right. And just figured I'd throw this out there for you guys. What do you feel about... Because the Wild Beyond the Witchlight sort of assumes when you play the regular adventure that you begin as adults. And that maybe there is a background that involves something that happened to you as you were children. And I decided that I thought it would be fun to sort of play that out rather than to sort of, tell, whoever's watching this what happened to you, but to show it. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I personally really like that Tana is starting out as a child. I'm playing her with a Midwestern accent, and when I grew up, I had a Midwestern accent. So I really get to channel myself, but a very fey sort of energetic version of myself. So I'm really enjoying it. And since I run games for kids too, I can see how they play, and I'm kind of trying to mirror some of their mannerisms and things like that and put myself in their shoes, and it's really enjoyable.
There's something fey-like about the Midwestern accent. I don't know what it is. When you use it, especially with Tana, I just feel like there's something. I don't know. I can't quite figure out what it is, but it definitely from now on, I'm going to think pixies and fairies and stuff when someone is using that accent, or just has it. Because I'm in the Midwest, I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
What about Ashley? What about you? Thorn is a child. He's huge. Does that change anything about the way that you play him?
Oh, for sure. I'm definitely playing him definitely more innocent than I think he will be later in life. Yeah, and less worldly. I mean, I hope you can see by the way I'm playing him that he is a little different. He's not a totally normal kid. He's got definitely a unique way of looking at the world.
That is true. I don't think any of these kids in this group are completely normal. We got 3 that are foundlings. They were basically orphans brought in by these 2 women and have been raised in this small community. And some of them have a background that's not simple, that being Sam, for instance. What do you feel about this, Chad, sort of playing this youthful version of this character?
So I really enjoy instead of just making the backstory, actually getting to create part of it and play it out. I think that as kids, our priorities were way different as they are as adults, and getting to explore that part of it and the sort of testing of boundaries and learning, what and what you can't do, I think is a very interesting aspect of it.
Yeah, I think that's what I liked about it as well. Like the idea of this is that you see the world differently when you're a child. You solve problems differently, especially because you have different problems. You can't just get up and go on an adventure if your parents have locked you down in the house. I mean, it was kind of an interesting moment we had in the last game that was not planned really at all. I did not expect you guys to fail so horribly to just get outside of the manor and get to town.
That was
and
bad.
There were some interesting rolls that,
Very
that led to those moments. Brandon, what about you? Sylfira is, in a way, maybe the most mature of this group because of her family and sort of the family business and being, this very religious character who is, I feel like Sylfira kind of knows who she is in a way, and is more mature because of it. Someone using
kind of did want to go with it. Well, yeah, Doctor Strange coming forward. I did want to play her as kind of a little bit mature beyond her years, but also still naive to how the rest of the world works. Even though she has this kind of close relation with death and mortality and spirituality, she's still innocent. Going out and getting candy floss, that's not something she's ever really done. So having this kind of calm, reserved character is going to be a challenge for me because I was the opposite when I was 12 years old. I was a hurricane. So I love getting to learn more about the character that I've kind of created by living out the backstory, like Chad said earlier.
It was interesting in the last game. You were quiet for a lot of it because I think you were playing a role that's more subdued than everybody else until that last moment where you have this opportunity to go do something. It's kind of like it's your one moment to kind of really go and enjoy the carnival, and then it just totally.
Everyone else is playing game. Somebody won pixie dust. Somebody else fought some goblins. Tana had a great time on a dragonfly, and I'm like, I just want some candy floss.
And then you get arrested,
kidnapped.
All right, so speaking of which, let's do a tiny recap as to where we are. So your group, you snuck out of the house, you've ditched your parents, you've made it to the carnival with the help of a friend that sort of led you to a patron that got you some tickets. You made your way into the carnival, you've played on a few rides, you've met a few people here, and then, just as you're really starting to get into the swing of things, Sylfira runs off to get some candy floss, and her ticket disintegrates right in front of a Witchlight hand. And having a very strong moral compass, she doesn't run. She sticks around to sort of try to sort this out because she doesn't think she did anything wrong. And of course, the Witchlight hands, they don't care about this. They're like, you don't have a ticket, you gotta go. Those are the rules. And in the process of them, coming to this determination, and you don't have another ticket, you've called out for help from your friends. You've also noticed that there's something sinister nearby in the carnival, a shadow that seems disembodied, doesn't belong to anyone nearby, that seems to have taken notice of you. We're going to hold off right here for a moment as the other members of your group, the other foundlings, are headed your direction. They haven't found you yet. You have these two Witchlight hands that are holding you by the arms and kind of dragging you towards the entrance of the carnival to toss you out. Let's step back for a moment, back about 2 hours, back to Terengeth Manor, where you guys were doing dishes not too long ago. Upstairs from this mess in the kitchen, we find one of your mothers, Morgana Terengeth, standing at a window on the second floor. She's looking down on the back courtyard, watching the soft glow of Mavra's pipe embers burning in the dark at the yard wall. There's a sudden sound of a breaking dish, and she jumps. And she calls out, "Mavra, is everything all right down there?" And she gets a quick reply, her heart beating a little bit more quickly, She looks back out the window to the glowing pipe. And it's then she realized that the response from below hadn't been her wife at all. She smiled and realized that Sam was becoming quite the trickster. She'd like to think that he got that from Mavra, but the boy was cunning, even before they rescued him from the streets. Always leave a light on, Mavra had said, when they left their apartment back in the city. Thieves think twice about robbing an occupied room. A funny thing to say, considering Mavra herself was a thief. A ranking member of the guild, in fact. Morgana smiled at the trick. Though she couldn't see it from the window, she knew the pipe was jammed in a crack in the wall, burning brighter when a breeze would pass it by. The truth was that Mavra was long gone, attending to important business elsewhere tonight. Morgana looked back out at the glow at the carnival beyond the rooftops of the village. She wished she could go, but she knew that she couldn't, so Morgana resigned herself to wait. She was still staring off across the village when the children announced that they were headed to bed, and she stood there still when, sometime after that, she heard the front door of the manor creak open. Was Mavra back already? Morgana wondered as she moved to the stairs and began to descend. She paused halfway down when she noticed a tall, thin man standing below. "Morgana Terengeth, I presume?" he asks. "I apologize for calling at such a late hour, but time is short, and we have things to discuss." Now we come back to the carnival, and we come upon a scene where a child is lying on the dirt not far from the ticket booth. This child being Sylfira. Sylfira, you wake up, and you don't know what's happened. The last thing you remember, you were being dragged towards the entrance of the carnival, and then suddenly everything just went dark. And when you came to, you were lying on the ground with a couple of witchlight hands standing over you, looking down, and wondering, "Hey, you okay? You okay, child? Little girl, you all right?" Trying to get you to come around.
I'm going to wake up and see them standing over me. I'm going to scream again, and then I'm going to scrabble backwards, like reverse exorcist walk backwards as fast as I can away from them, and just stand up and go, I didn't do anything wrong. I was gifted the ticket. Just please, just leave me be.
All right, as you are backing up and trying to scramble away from these hands, they don't pursue you this time. And in fact, when you back up, you bump into someone. And you kind of, as you're panicking, you turn around, you look up, and you find your father standing there. Oh. He's looking down at you with a lot of concern, a lot of worry, and not so much anger that you might have expected. And he says, "Sylfira, are you all right? When I came here, you were on the ground. They said that you had just passed out."
The others and I, we got tickets.
Yes, of course we have tickets. Of course we have tickets. He pulls a ticket out of his pocket. He says to the Witchlight hands, "I'm sorry. This is just a misunderstanding. I had her ticket with me. I don't know how she lost the one that she had. Everything's all right. Everything's all right, Sylfira. Just you had some sort of an episode. Maybe the gods are speaking through you. I don't know." And he keeps sort of like putting his hand on your shoulder and like another hand towards the operators of the carnival. And you're sitting there like, and obviously this is not what you expected. If your father had caught you here, at least from what you recalled before, there would be punishments coming your direction, and there don't seem to be some now. In fact, he seems to be going out of his way to cover for you.
And it is this reason that I would like to make an insight check against this fool to see if it's my dad or not.
Go ahead.
Okay. First roll of the night, and it's a 10 total.
Roll with advantage because
okay,
just because.
Pity? Because pity?
Probably because it's your father.
All right.
I think someone understands.
I figure you know him pretty well.
Okay. So 15 plus 4 is a 19 total.
19. Okay. Yes. The reason I gave you advantage, Callie, you're completely correct. This is your father. At least you are 99% sure. You are about, what is that, 19 out of 20% sure, or whatever that is.
All right.
If we're doing
So-
that, it's 95.
Yes, 95%. Let's go with the 95%. And let's hold
Secondary
off there.
important question.
Yes. Let's.
Do I still have the candy floss?
You do not. As you recall, it was pulled out of your hands by the Witchlight hands. You glance over across the dirt and you see it, over near one of the stalls. And like right as you're noticing it, just a foot comes down and mushes it right into some mud.
All right.
All right, let's jump real quick over to the foundlings who were coming to your rescue. At least that's what their intent was. The three of you, Sam, Tana, and Thorn, you had heard in the distance this scream from Sylfira, and it's not a scream of fun. There was something wrong, and you quickly began heading that direction. But you didn't get far before you saw in the crowd ahead of you someone very, very familiar. The short, stocky silhouette of your mother, Mavra, walking in the same direction, her back to you at the moment. And that is the only reason that she hasn't spotted the three of you, especially Thorn, stomping through the crowd behind her. Roll a perception check, all three of you.
12.
7.
Perception, my strong suit. 7 also.
All right, Tana and Thorn are just, all they see is mom and, perhaps a lot of spankings coming in your direction. Sam, you're a little bit more aware of the situation, and you realize that Mavra is with someone else, someone you've never met before, a figure that is hooded in this sort of blue cloak. And at first it seemed like they were a little bit like they were separated by a couple people, and then they came back together. And you see this hooded figure turn towards her, and you realize that this figure is a Kenku. They have a black bird-like face. And they say something to Mavra, but they're too far away for you to kind of make it out. But they are quickly moving in the same direction that you are. If you try to get past them, very, very good chance. Well, Thorn is going to get noticed for certain.
All
What
right.
do you guys do?
You guys go on. I'm going to scat around.
There are sort of two ways to get to the ticket booth. If you recall, the Witchlight Carnival is sort of laid out like a figure 8. You guys are coming up around the sort of the right-hand side of the bottom part of the 8. If you go around the other way, if you are super quick, you might be able to get ahead, but they've already got like sort of a head start on you. So if you do split up, if Sam, your intent is to sort of sneak ahead on your own, trusting that you're more stealthy than Thorn, that you're free to do so. Just wanted to lay out the environment so you know what is what.
Well, and how populated is the fair at this time of night?
Very populated. You're in the thick of the fair. It's in about another hour or so. You think that the big top extravaganza is going to happen, and that's like when that's the middle of the night. That's the big event that draws everyone. So people, they don't start leaving until after that, even kids.
All right. Well, I would like to use the crowd as cover, and but still going in the same direction, like maybe on the other side of the path.
All right. Give me a stealth check. What about Thorn and Tana?
So, Sam, are you going in the direction of one of our mothers, or are you going in the opposite direction of our mother?
Same direction,
Just
straight line. I'm just like off to the side.
He's trying to slip past her, I think, from on the side.
All right. Well,
Where-
he is more stealthy. I'm going to look at Thorn and have another plan. Go ahead and talk about your role.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. All right, you slip up next to these two and begin passing them on the left-hand side with the intent to try to get past them and get to Sylfira first, correct?
Yes.
Anything else that you're doing on the way?
No, just trying to stay out of view of my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And
So you make it to the area of the ticket booth fairly quickly, and you're a little bit ahead of them. And you come upon a scene where you find Sylfira sort of being picked up off the ground by her father. And Sylfira is not supposed to be here either. Like, they don't have money, and she was in the same boat as the rest of you. Maybe a little bit less so. You're not really sure how harsh her father is as far as like being a disciplinarian. Right now, he doesn't look too angry. In fact, he looks maybe a little worried as he's helping Sylfira up. But she doesn't seem to be in trouble at the moment. There's a couple of Witchlight hands standing there, and it looks as if the situation is calm for the moment.
All right, well, I'd like to try and get some sort of vantage point where I can hide, see my mother coming, and watch the whole thing.
All right. You slip in between a few wagons that are set up in the area. You come right next to one that's selling candy floss. And you watch this scene sort of play out from a safe distance. What are Tana and Thorn doing?
Well, Tana's going to look at Thorn and just be like, you're too conspicuous. You're real tall. We can't go past Mom. Sam's already gone. My goodness, that kid, he's just like a shadow half the time. Spooks me in the house half the time. All right, so let's see. We should go the other way around the figure eight. Put me on your shoulders, Thorn, and people are going to think you're my dad. And if she sees us from behind, she's not going to notice us. She's just going to think you're my dad, putting me on your shoulders. And then we just hightail it. We find Sylfira, and then maybe we figure out why Mom's here, because that's it. Don't you think that's a little bit hypocritical of her? She's like, don't come to the carnival, and then she shows up. Oh, that makes me angry.
Thorn's just kind of processing.
You are so quiet, Thorn.
Thorn's just kind of
processing this, and he looks at you and is just like, could we shouldn't talk to her? I mean, no, you're right. He just like, he's out of his depth. He's following your lead. Whatever you want him to do, he picks you up and puts you on his back. Which way?
We go this way, and then I point in the opposite direction of the figure eight so that we don't run into our mother.
Okay. We turn and go that direction.
Does Tana have any sort of fear of heights? Because you're like 7 feet off the ground.
I suppose this is not the first time we've done this, like apple picking and things like that. Like, this is definitely something.
It's true. I'm pretty sure that Thorn has used you as a grabbing tool before. Yeah. and probably even Sam and Sylfira occasionally. All right, so you begin heading the other direction, trying to sort of blend in and play it cool as you circle, sort of the bottom part of the eight of the carnival, heading back past the Pixie Kingdom and the snail races, making your way much more slowly towards the ticket booth where you think that this event is occurring. Let's go back to Sylfira. Your father is there. He's kind of cooled the Witchlight hands down, and they seem to be, they're all right, sir, okay. But just make sure that, your child doesn't lose a ticket again, because it's a serious thing here in the carnival.
I didn't lose my ticket. It dissolved.
Right, dissolved. And the one
That's the guy.
Yeah, you look at him, and he's like, some sort of magic or something. Maybe she knows a trick. Who knows?
I just wanted candy floss.
Your father is at the same time sort of guiding you away, and he says, let's not make up any more stories. All right, Sylfira?
Dad, I'm not making this up, okay? We got tickets.
Not now. Let's not have this discussion now, Sylfira. Now is not the time. And
I think now is the...
He kind of steers you away a little bit from these Witchlight hands, kind of quickly. Like he doesn't want to have this conversation in front of them. Go ahead and roll another insight check for me.
Is this with advantage or no advantage this time?
You can roll this one with advantage.
Okay.
Advantage.
Ooh. The same thing both times. 21.
21. Okay. We can't do much better than that, can you? Well, maybe a little bit. So like I said, he seems very worried when he's talking to you, and he also you sense a little bit of fear in him. Like when he's guiding you away, you feel like a little bit of a tremble in his hand as he's doing so. And as you're being led away, you see in the crowd coming your direction the foundling's mother, Mavra, the dwarf, whom you last saw just a little while ago, maybe about 2 hours ago, at the manor. And she's accompanied by a Kenku as they approach your father. And Mavra says, "Well, what is this? What's your girl doing here?" And your father kind of just says, "Look, I just brought her along. She wanted to have a good time here. There's no big deal. She'll be fine."
That's not true.
Sylfira, that's enough. Enough from you. Would you like to go home tonight? You could spend some more time at the carnival, or you could go home and there could be a punishment tomorrow.
Sounds like I'm getting punished either way.
Well, perhaps you are.
What do you think is best?
He looks to Mavra and says, "Look, this will be fine. No harm has been done. Look, he has a ticket. She has a ticket," and he kind of like gestures to you, and you're holding this thing in your hand, kind of like you haven't even put it away yet. And it is a ticket that has not even been punched at all, as if it was just purchased maybe a few minutes ago. He says, "Look, I know you wanted to have some fun here. Let me speak to Mavra real quick. There's some issues here at the carnival that we have to discuss."
And that's what I'm trying to tell you. I've seen some things, and it's not just a story, Dad.
What have you seen?
So, I went to get the candy floss, and I had the ticket. And the ticket was fine until it was punched. And it got punched, and it turned into ash. And the two Witchlight hands picked me up, carried me away. And as they were carrying me out, I saw a man walk by a tent. And his shadow stopped, but he kept going. And the shadow looked at me. And then I woke up outside the carnival.
You see them kind of sharing a look amongst each other at your story. And they say that there are things here at the carnival, not all of them sinister. Sometimes there are witchlight hands that just do shadow puppets and illusions, things like that. The carnival it's a strange place. You're not maybe old enough to come here on your own.
This felt different. This didn't feel like a trick.
Had you come with me, maybe things would have been different. Maybe this was a mistake. He looks at Mavra and
wait,
Mavra
maybe
says,
what was a mistake?
But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later, not here. And
Did you all want us to go to the carnival alone?
No, we didn't want you. We didn't. What do you mean, us? And Mavra says, "Yes. What is this us that you're talking about, Sylfira?" And Sam, you're close enough to hear this. Like you've kind of snuck nearby.
Whoops.
roll a perception check, Sylfira.
Oh no.
And Mavra's going to look around too.
17.
Okay. 17. What was your hide check for Sam?
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. So you don't see Sam, but Sam, you're over there, unless you wanted to try to make yourself known. But then there's a chance that the others might see you. Do you want to try to reposition to try to help with this?
I just want her to read my mind.
I'm just going to quickly say other kids from class, other kids from the school.
Nice save.
But like a minute later.
All right.
It's not technically lying. It's just delayed.
roll deception with disadvantage.
It's the truth.
Okay. You deserve that because you've also got dad disadvantage.
Oh, all right.
That's
Double
real.
disadvantage. Dad's advantage. No, there's nothing there. All right. Oh, so that's a
the
9.
advantage. 9. Yeah, you're gonna.
And that's a 6, so that's worse. So that's a 9
So
total.
yeah, you're trying to stretch this truth a bit, and they're all kind of looking at you with the sort of the same way.
Well, here comes the embuggerance. All right.
Yeah.
My shoulders kind of slump forward, my head just goes down.
So
I just
Sam,
want a candy floss, and I kick the dirt.
and Mavericks kind of scoffs. Candy floss, candy floss. I swear this world is going to end because a child wants candy floss. Meanwhile, Sam, over with you, you're watching this, and you're doing your best to be like, come on, pull it off, Sylfira. And you just see like this. You see her kind of just sag in defeat, and any moment, this is going to be a moment where she probably just spills the beans, and it can't be long until Mavra starts looking for you. And although you're pretty good at hide and seek, you know that Mavra's probably a little bit better at that game. You're thinking about this, and you hear behind you, "Excuse me," and then you feel like a little tap on your shoulder.
What? Yes. Hello.
You turn around, and there's this girl standing behind you. She looks maybe about your age, 12, 13. It's a little bit hard to tell because she's wearing this mask that looks like a pig's face. It's a little crooked on her head. She seems to be wearing sort of like this tattered little dress. And at first you're like, what the heck? Because she's got like this, like, you don't know if she's wearing face paint. You've seen other kids with them. Some of them are kind of strangely attired. But this girl's skin looks like almost like grayish in cast to you, and her eyes are very, very pale behind this mask. She says, "Are you here alone?"
No, I'm with friends. We're playing hide and seek. And
are you?
Yeah.
I was wondering while you were hiding, who are you hiding from?
Well, I have some friends. They're looking for me, and I'd really appreciate it if you could help me keep this little secret.
Oh, I think that I can. Don't worry.
Great. What's your name?
Oh, my name? Oh, don't worry about my name. That's a secret too.
Okay.
She laughs a little bit.
They've no-named me before. All right.
And you're like, you're this strange little child. You don't know quite what to make of them. And suddenly you feel just very, very sleepy. And a moment later, you are on the ground and waking up kind of between these two wagons. Very confused as to what just happened. And we're going to jump real quick over to Thorn and Tana, who are coming up around the other direction in the way of the ticket booth. Two of you are you're doing this thing where Tana's on Thorn's back, and you're trying to kind of blend in and pretend to be just normal folk here at the carnival. You come within sight of the ticket booth, and Tana, you're the first to see because you're above the crowds. You can see Mavra, you can see Sylfira's father, you can see Sylfira, who has just got this sort of like defeated look and his head down, her head is down. And you also see this other strange person with them, this Kenku seems to be with Mavra and with Sylfira's father. If Thorn keeps moving, you are going to probably clear this crowd and be noticed.
I hit him on the head and I say, Thorn, stop right now.
What? Oh.
Peanut.
Thorn is just looking miserable.
I'm sorry I hit you, but I needed to stop you. So Sylfira, she's got found out. We've been made, as Sam says, and we're in trouble. Mom is with Sylfira. Her dad's here. The weird crow person is right next to him. She's probably spilling the beans. You know how honest she is. She's not a good liar.
Tana.
We have two options. I know. We have two options. We can come clean, or we can go enjoy the rest of the carnival before we get punished.
I just want to go to our friends. I want to be with Sam and Sylfira.
Yeah, where is Sam? I thought he would be here by now.
Roll a perception check for Tana.
Thorn too, or skip it? He's a little distracted.
Thorn is sort of below the crowd. Like the only reason that Tana can see is
got it.
because she's like your periscope right now.
Got it.
12. You don't see Sam anywhere, but Sam is sneaky. So if he's hidden somewhere, it's going to be hard to find him. You do see though that it seems as if Sylfira is like her father has turned to Mavra and has said something, and Mavra begins sort of like looking around through the crowd. You wonder if you've been given up.
Do I see that Sylfira has lost her candy floss?
Roll a perception check if you're trying to get close enough to see, and also roll a stealth check for me.
Well, I don't know.
Do I have my wings still?
What's that?
Do I have my wings still? Are they just like battered, dirty, like pixie wings now?
Mm-hmm. You probably like fell on them. One of them's like broken.
Oh, so tragic.
I don't think Thorn is moving anywhere. He's just a little frozen. He says, "Tana, what do we do?"
Well, we could look for Sam. We could leave right now and beg for forgiveness, or we could fill our pockets with candy floss and then get out of the carnival so that we can give it to Sylfira later. I don't know. Oh, well, let's look for Sam. Maybe he'll know what to do.
All right.
So it's possible that Sam went the other way around. Maybe he wasn't able to get past Mavra and is coming back. Who knows?
It's true.
You guys are standing here in the crowd. Kind of people are bumping into you. A few people are like, "Hey, come on, man! Just go with the flow or get out of the way."
I guess I'll go back and look for Sam, but give kind of like a lingering look back at our parents and Sylfira as we are leaving.
Okay. You turn back, heading deeper into the carnival again. Meanwhile, let's come back to Sylfira real quick. Your father is again, he's basically trying to calm down Mavra now. Mavra is looking around and saying, yes, friends, just friends from school, right? And they begin sort of looking through the crowd. And Mavra says to your father, stay with her for a minute. We'll go look for the others. If they're here, there's going to be big trouble. And they head off into the crowd. Sam, as you are coming to, you look around, the girl is gone. You kind of see across the way Sylfira and her father, and you see Mavra and this Kinku turning and going off a different direction. You feel very weird, by the way. Like something is just very woozy.
All right.
And Sylfira, there's this weird feeling from you as well, and you can't quite place what it is. Like maybe you just bonked your head when you fell over. Who knows?
Took too much melatonin the night before, and you're kind of like hungover the rest of the day.
Maybe. What's Sam doing?
Well, I don't like this at all. So I'm gonna go try and see if I can find Tana and Thorn, and maybe warn them that Mama is coming, and maybe we should, try and go around the other way and make her escape.
All right.
Maybe it's time to go home.
Give me a stealth check as you slip out of this area and try to circle back. 6. All right. Sylfira, you're waiting near the ticket booth. Your father is looking in the direction that Mavra and this Kinku has gone. As he turns back to you, he says, "Look, Sylfira, there's some things that I wish I could tell you, but this is not the place." And then he stops and he looks kind of past you, and he says, Sam, I see you. Get over here."
I'm going to hang my head even lower.
You're like, hey, you over here now.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
Hi. Sorry, Sam.
As you step closer, he says, "Or all of you here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did all of you get in?" Sylfira said that there was a ticket.
Well, yeah. We met this very generous music lover who just gave us the tickets because we asked. Nice.
And who was this, and where did this happen?
It was at the old boys tavern.
His name was Mr. Fairvale, or Lord Fairvale. I can't remember what his title
A
was.
super nice guy. Just the best.
He says, "Let me see your ticket," he says to Sam. You go to pull it out of your pocket, and there's just crumbles that come out, like little bits of ash.
That's what happened to mine.
Yours crumbled too?
That's why I got thrown out. That's why I started screaming. And I just wanted candy floss, and they did the ticket punch, and it turned into ash, and then these two people picked me up, and then I saw a really spooky-looking shadow, and then I woke up out here in the dirt.
This is bad. This is bad.
Where have you been?
Now he's like
Sam?
looking
Where
over
are
the
the
crowd,
others?
trying to find Mavra, but Mavra's already like out of sight.
I mean, we were, I did a whole hide and seek thing, and then we heard you scream, and we were on our way here, and then we saw Mabra, and I went round, and the others are probably not too far behind. I mean, Thorn's hard to miss, right?
Yeah. Well, did you see anything weird?
No.
We need to go
Okay.
and find your friends, like right now. Mavra went that way, so we're going to go this way. You two stay with me. Don't wander off.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Right, sir.
And he starts heading south into the carnival. Meanwhile, Thorn and Tana just like do like walking through the carnival. Tana like head and shoulders above everybody else.
Thorn's
As
got
you
the
are-
longest face. He's just moping his way down the street.
Dude, a
You,
head, shoulders, and chest taller than everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. So as you are making your way around the carnival, you don't get too far before you see that you glance behind you and you see Mavra and this Kenku, moving through the crowd in your direction. And give me like a stealth check for Tana real quick.
Yes. Let's see.
Is it a stealth?
16.
Sorry.
What was that?
16.
16. So you try to duck, like just to get out of sight. And then you kind of peek back up a moment later and you see that Mavra is now making a beeline in your direction, sort of like pushing people out of the way. And this Kenku that's with her is like right on her heels. She's short, so like she's kind of like having to like push people left and right to like get past them. But she's coming in your direction quick. Do you stick around here? What do you do?
I tell Thorn. I say, Thorn, never found us. I should have taped my ears back. It's a little noticeable.
I look up. Where?
She's behind us. She's going to be really mad.
I turn to her like... Thorn is very much like... Things have gone wrong, and his parents are a source of safety. So he's actually delighted that she's here. He turns around
Okay.
and sees her, and he's like, Mom!
Well, she's not that close. She's not
All right.
like close enough for like mom.
Well, I definitely start
Tana is
walking
far from a
towards her,
distance.
waving.
All right. As you turn around, like looking for her above the crowd, you see off to the side that there is like on this post. At first, you're not sure if it was like a sculpture or whatnot. It looks like a frog that's sort of like perched on this post nearby. And as you are passing it, it makes this weird croak sound, just like, "Wah, wah. Dig it, ticket? And suddenly, Thorn, you kind of glance over it like, is this frog saying ticket? And then things just sort of fade out. And Tana, you are riding Thorn when suddenly Thorn just goes down, just decides to take a dirt nap right in the middle of the road. You go flying off his shoulders like into the crowd.
Oh no.
And as you're sort of picking yourself back up, Tana, you look back and you see Thorn lying like sort of right next to this railing, and you see this creature suddenly appear like right next to him. And there's like this gust of wind, and you see like leaves and stuff kind of scatter around. You see Thorn's clothes kind of like, like they shudder from like a wind suddenly. This thing then looks up at you, and a second later, it's right in your face. It's about the same height as you, and about the same size as you. But this thing moves like so fast that you can't even like see, like it's suddenly in one spot and then in another. And like a moment after it's arrived in your face, like this little rush of wind hits you as well. And it croaks right in your face. Dig it. And suddenly you find yourself lying on the ground as well. And looking down over you is not this creature anymore, but Mavra. And she's got this look on her face, and she's calling out, "Is he all right? Is he all right?" And she looks up, and you kind of are pulling yourself too, and you see Thorn just starting to stir, not too far away.
Thorn, he fell down, and then I fell down. There was something, and it croaked at me, and it was so fast. Mom?
And what about Thorn? What's Thorn doing? Thorn, you're coming around too. Would you find in your face this Kenku like beak, like not too far away, and it's cawing at you in a way that it's almost like it's mimicking another voice, and it's saying, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Kind of over and over again.
I look at it really curiously. Are you okay?
I'm fine. And it kind of looks up and it says, "I think he hit his head. Sounds strange. Maybe confused."
I look around. Is Mavra there?
Mavra is there. You see her kind of looking in your direction.
My whole face lights up. Mom!
She gives sort of like a sigh, and she's like, "Oh, yes, he's fine. I think he looks fine." Tana, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You feel very weird. You feel like both of you actually feel like very lightheaded. Like you played that game when you were kids where you held your breath until you couldn't hold it any longer. And almost passed out. Maybe Thorn is probably one of the kids that did pass out.
Mom, I feel funny. Was I holding my breath too long?
I don't know. We need to get you out of here. You shouldn't be at the carnival. We told you not to come here.
Well, look who's talking, Mama. My mother.
She gives you a scowl, like a look that's like, this is like, trouble for like a month. Like you're not leaving that house like for a long time. So are you trying to give me directions? Are you a parent? Are you my parent?
No, I'm sorry.
I thought so. She kind of like looks back at Thorn and then back at you again, is almost like to like intimidate you a bit. Like, you got anything more to say?
Thorn, stop holding your breath. What are you doing right now?
I love the commitments.
I thought it'd reverse it, like spinning the other direction.
The Kenku's like, "Are you sure he's all right?"
No, that's just Thorn. You know what? That makes Thorn logic, actually.
I don't think it works, Tana.
Meanwhile, Sam and Sylfira, you are being led around the other side of the carnival, and you come upon this scene where Thorn is like sitting on the ground, like a little bit more blue than normal, and looking a little woozy, and Tana is sort of being helped up by Mavra. Do you two of you have anything As you arrive, Sylfira, your father says, are they all right? What happened? Did they try to make a run for it? And Mavra's like, no, I don't. Maybe Thorn tripped or something. I don't know.
Did you guys fall asleep
okay.
too?
Didn't trip.
We
There was a
just
frog.
yeah, there was a frog, and
A frog.
for some reason the frog was very fast, and then I got real dizzy, and now I'm here, and now I'm here with you guys. Hi, Sylfira. I'm glad to see you're all right.
Don't
Hi.
remember something.
Yeah. I think you don't remember that I told you two and you three. She looks over at Sam, seeing that he's arriving, not to come here. That
Oh, no.
This was off limits.
I remember that. And then I sort of put two and two together and look really sheepish.
She's just kind of like your beard. She's got a little bit of like the dwarf beard that some women have, and she's just like like trying not to like curse in front of you. You've heard of curse before, and she gets this face that's sort of like Morgana calls it curse face, where she's just holding back. She can't say anything because it's all going to be like street talk from the city, and she's like, I can't talk to you right now. You are in so much trouble.
Sorry. We did get tickets. Somebody gifted us to us, or gifted them to us, and you can have them back, and we'll go home. I'm sorry.
You go to pull out your ticket, and it's just, again, it's like crumbled little ash. It's not in your pocket.
See? It happened again. That's what happened to mine.
That's what happened to yours?
Yeah, so I went to get the candy floss, and they punched the ticket, and it turned into ash, and then I saw a scary shadow, and I woke up outside the carnival.
Oh.
Wait, yours only turned into ash after you got the ticket punched?
Yeah.
I mean, like, we went on the ride with the dragonflies, and then,
Right.
like, Thorn was wrestling goblins, and I was going hide and seek with the pixies, and, you know, a couple of punches each there.
So you've been here for a while then.
I mean, not not too long. We just went on the most safest things that we could do. Of course, respectfully, Mum.
I think I flew out of bounds.
Sylfira's father says we should get them out of here now. They need to go home, I think. It's too late for them. Something happened here. I don't like it.
I am quite tired. I could use a bit of a nap.
And Mavra kind of helps up Tana finally, and Thorn, you eventually get to your feet. And they say, let's go. Let's get you home now.
Sylfira, where's your candy floss?
I point in like some random direction to the dirt. It's in the ground.
Oh, Mom, can we get Sylfira more candy floss before we go?
There's a word that comes out of her mouth that is definitely straight from the street, and Sam, it even makes you cringe. And she just follows it up with a, no, we are going home right now. You are going right to bed, and you'll be lucky if you see the outside of the manor in a month.
I look really sheepish.
And
I very quietly pull my hood up and over my face.
They quickly, scoot you guys to the exit of the carnival and out through the arch, across the little river that circles the entire carnival. And as they do, the kenku that is with the group says, "But we can't just all leave right now. We still have business inside." You can hear him kind of muttering to Mavra as you guys are being sort of escorted out. And Mavra says, "Just wait here. I'll be back." And Sylfira, your father, and Mavra escort the two of you back into town. Sylfira, you are taken like directly home, right to your room. And he says that you need to go to bed right now. We will talk again in the morning. I need to go make sure that Mavra is okay.
Are you scared?
More. Nothing more tonight. We'll talk in the morning.
Should we be scared?
Think about the goddess. Find comfort in her. Say your prayers.
Okay.
There is no fear if she is with you. Remember that, always.
I do. Sorry for breaking the rules.
I know you are.
Okay. Be safe. We'll see you in the morning.
Good night. And he slips out of the chapel that you run in Glen Hollow and leaves into the dark. Meanwhile, the other three are ushered quickly back to Tarangeth Manor by Mavra. And when you arrive there, she brings you inside. She calls up for Morgana, but there's like no answer right away when you arrive. And she says, well, she's probably gone to bed. If you go up quietly, get into your beds and go to sleep, you can talk to her in the morning. And perhaps some sort of arrangement can be made where your punishments won't be nearly as bad as they would be right now if I was giving them to you. I still have things that I need to do tonight. I need to go speak with Sylfira's father. Sam?
It's gone. My stone is gone.
Your stone?
Yeah. Mama Morgana, she gave me a stone. And it's gone.
Are you sure you just didn't forget it here?
I'll look. I'm pretty sure I had it when I left.
Well, go to your room. Go to sleep. Find it in the morning. I'm sure that it's here. This is not important right now.
But I mean, if you're going back with the bird man, just have a look around, all right, please.
Is it the little one that she gave you?
Yeah, it's got the little hole in it and a little band of quartz.
Oh, I'll look for it. I'll ask. Perhaps it's in the Lost and Found. There's an area in the carnival where things that are recovered sometimes make their way to. That's one thing I just need to deal with tonight.
Oh, you've gone to the carnival more than once.
Who?
Mom has. She knows about Losts and Founds.
Tana's playing the game.
You didn't see it when you walked right in, just to the right of the ticket booth.
No, I suppose not. I was looking at the fairy wings. Can I keep mine? Please, Mom.
Just go to bed.
Didn't get to do
we'll talk
anything.
about it in the morning. You did. You got to go. I heard all about it.
Okay, we got to do a couple of things. I rode a dragonfly. I was very safe. I was very fast, but I was very safe.
Meanwhile, everybody remembers Tana like with her hands like totally like back here, barely like strapped in. She says, all of you, just go to bed. I can't talk about this tonight. If we keep talking about it, I'm going to get more angry and say things that I don't want to say, and you're going to get in more trouble than perhaps you deserve.
I run upstairs.
All right, good night. And I close the door.
And she turns to leave. Is Thorn just still kind of standing there, or does Thorn go to bed too?
No, Thorn calls from his room, Mom! Mom!
Go to bed!
I need my goodnight kiss.
I'll kiss you in the morning. Slam. The door slams, and she's gone. The night passes, and you guys are all restless this evening. Sam, your stone is not where it's supposed to be in that little pocket you sewn for it. You just keep kind of reaching for it that night because maybe this is one of those things that you reach for when you're in like deep trouble like this, and you don't have it. Like you're sort of like your little safety thing is gone.
Carry my room apart.
Tana, you're up in your room, and you're same thing, like just restless, thinking about what you've done and like how much trouble you're going to be in the morning. You don't remember ever being in this much trouble before, and you're thinking like way back, like to when you came here, and then you're trying to think back before that, like you wonder if you were ever in trouble like this before you came to the manor. Let me think for just a moment. When you you used to dream about things, about being in trouble like all the time, and your old family, in the time before you came here, and you kind of remember it, but for the longest time you had these dreams of like how your life could have been. Sometimes those dreams were good, and sometimes they were kind of bad, but you still kind of found comfort in them. And for some reason, you can't quite remember them. You can't quite remember these dreams. You used to write like a little journal of some of these dreams, and you go to look for it, and you can't even find that. Jumping over to Thorn. Thorn, you're just kind of sitting in your room. The window's open. The cold from the night is coming in. You're sitting there, sad that you didn't get your good night kiss, and that your parents are obviously going to be angry with you. You don't know where Morgana is. At one point, you were hoping that maybe she would come and give you that kiss goodnight, but she never does. And you just kind of sit there for like an hour or two, thinking about things. The cold air kind of blowing in through the window. And at some point, you realize that you're shivering. Your whole body is sort of shivering. And you don't know why. But something just definitely feels weird and odd to you. Sylfira, when you are back in your room, same thing. Very hard to go to sleep. You keep looking out the window at the stars, thinking about the trouble you're in, thinking about your father and that look on his face, that look of worry and fear. And you hadn't seen a look like that on his face before in years. In fact, the last time you remember him looking like that was when your mom vanished. It was when your mother failed to return home one night. And you're thinking about your mother, and you're having a really, really hard time remembering her face. This is something that's always kind of comforted you. Like you've prayed to the goddess, but you've also kind of whispered prayers to your mother, and like that this memory of her face was always something that was comforting to you, and it's gone. This memory that you have, and in fact, you can't even remember your mother's name now that you think about it.
Mom. That's all I'm going to be able to say. I'll probably start crying.
All right. So we end with these children sitting in their rooms, trying to recollect things, find out where these lost things that they had have gone, trying to remember them, trying to remember where they've lost them. And all of them just restless in the night. Let's take a little bit of a 5-minute break, and we'll come back after that.
Curious.
All right.
Like it. See you guys soon.
All right. Quick. How's everybody feeling after that last little bit?
No regrets.
No regrets.
I don't know
No
about
regrets.
you. I'm a little traumatized. I mean, Sylfira didn't get her candy floss. That's the. I can't even.
And
say
I forgot who my mom is.
That's clearly the real tragedy.
I'm never getting candy floss again. It was me.
It's your punishment for illegal candy flossing.
I am going to get you candy floss sometime before this campaign is over. It is going to happen.
I'm pretty
For
sure
any
that
viewers out there, mail me some candy floss. I'll put my address in the comments.
Don't do that. Don't put your address on the
I'm obvious. I'm not going to.
I'm gonna send you a trash bag full of it now. It's gonna have like
Trash bag
dirt
full
and
of
leaves
something.
and stuff, and it's
Am I
gonna
right?
be the one that we picked up off the floor of the carnival.
Yep. Just a boot print in it.
Yeah. I have a feeling that getting candy flossed is sort of like the Fey version of just getting trashed. Like they just eat a bunch of candy and just pass out. All right, are you guys ready to move on?
So we just got some extra viewers who just popped in. So I just want to share, we just wrapped up doing a level 0 session for this, Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Our characters were all 12 and 13, and some stuff went down, to put it mildly. And Rob, maybe do you want to say a bit about what's coming up next?
Well, let's talk a tiny bit about what just happened. So to sum up, you guys were all playing kids who decided to sneak into the Witchlight Carnival. Well, maybe not sneak in, find a way in, despite the edict from your parents that you were not supposed to go. You finagled a few tickets out of someone in town, made your way there, rode a few rides, and then something went dreadfully wrong with these tickets that you procured. They began crumbling in your hands and pockets, and as they did, you drew the attention of something or some things in the carnival. And by the time it was over, some of your parents had discovered you, and you had been sent home. But in the evening after you got back to your beds, you all began to realize that something was missing. Something was lost when you were at the carnival. Different things for each one of you. So where we're going to pick up now is we're going to jump forward. We ended with these children at the end of the night as the carnival is fading into the distance. And when we return to a night as well that is just ending. And the sunrise is coming up over the village and the forest that surrounds the village of Glen Hollow. And we come in again on Tarangith Manor, which is this estate where these children lived. I should say most of them lived when they were younger. They were all orphans with the exception of Sylfira, who was the only child of the local priest that ran a chapel in the village. But now, when the sun rises, it rises in a room that once belonged to Samarand, one of the founding children of Mavra and Morgana. But this room is different now. Sam's things are no longer in it. Maybe a couple things are still there, but a lot of them have been replaced. And the person that did those replacing is the young woman now that stands in this room, getting ready for the day. That young woman is Sylfira. Sylfira, you have gotten up early as you normally do. The sunrise, you've said your prayers, and you've thought about your father, the only parent whose name that you can remember and whose face you can recall. And it's been about 8 years since you've seen him. He, along with that memory of your mother, vanished the night of the last day of the carnival 8 years ago, when he returned there with Mavra. You, being left alone, were taken in by Morgana. And Morgana lost something that night as well. She lost her wife, Mavra, who also returned to the carnival with your father. And in addition to that, the reason that you are now in Sam's room is because Sam disappeared that night as well.
What?
Is this the end of the campaign?
It's not the end of the campaign.
Rob, we just started.
It was the end of your childhood, is what it was.
What if our mothers our father and our brother disappeared?
You only have one parent left, and that is Morgana, and she is somewhat of a broken human being after losing Sam and her wife and her friend. And
Oh my god.
although she has somewhat taken care of this new group of foundlings for the last 8 years, a lot of that responsibility is now kind of fallen to Tana. Tana, you were the oldest of these children, kind of allowed to be a child for a long time. These last 8 years, you've grown up pretty quick. You've had to basically do a lot of things around this house that Morgana kind of ceased being able to do. Her ability to function has been it's been difficult for her. She just can't quite handle things the way that she used to. She's fearful at times. You hear her kind of wake up in the night, kind of occasionally screaming out in fear. Although she tells you all in the morning that they're just night terrors and that she's kind of always had them, you don't ever remember anything like this before. Thorn, you also are up early. In fact, you're not even at the house. You have a room here, but you've begun working full-time at the forge in Glen Hollow. And their times are, you're there before the sun is up, and you work a long, hard day. So your room is empty, and you are already at work. What would the morning look like? Now that I sort of placed you in different spots, Tana, I kind of assume that maybe you're doing some of the morning chores. But what do you think Tana's like now, 8 years later, after losing friends and family?
She's probably a little less optimistic, I would think. And I think she probably has, like, under the surface, some simmering anger. Like, she puts on a really competent face. She, like, handles everything. But every once in a while just has, like, outbursts of actual just rage and anger. And, she'll clean up afterward. But, behind closed doors, she's punching pillows.
Okay. One thing I should mention also in the last 8 years is that these memories that you had of the carnival, of that night, a lot of them have faded. It's been very hard to kind of hold on to details of that night. You remember that you were there, like you remember bits and pieces, like the dragonfly and like the bubbles in the air. You remember some vague moments of your parents finding you there and bringing you home. But a lot of these other details are very, very vague to you. You feel like something happened there, but the story that is told to you kind of over and over by Morgana is that that bandits attacked Mavra and Sylfira's father on the road when they were returning from the carnival that night. You never saw bodies. You don't know what happened to them. This is just the story that was kind of told in the village as well. There are graves for them that were prepared and dug outside of the town. Sylfira, this normally would have been your thing to do, but as a child you were kept away from it, and the locals handled it instead. Before you and your father had come here, they had done this plenty of times. But Tina, I think, had a question.
What about Sam? Was he not attacked by bandits? He just disappeared?
Sam just vanished that night. He left his room, he took some things with him, and no one knows where he went.
Huh.
Wow.
So
That's
what about
devastating.
yeah. What about Thorn? Thorn, what's Thorn's life now? Life like now, about 8 years later.
I think that Thorn has not smiled like he did that night since that night. Losing his mother and one of his mothers and Sam, and seeing his other mother be wrecked the way she was, and seeing Tana turn angry and Sylfira lose her entire family. I mean, both parents, even the one she'd already lost. I think that was kind of hard for Thorn, and he's just He's grown a little more quiet and a little more reserved, and has a deep, deep protective streak towards the family that he has left.
What about Sylfira?
Excuse me. She gets up in the morning. She makes tea. She does her prayers. She does the cleaning. I'm assuming she runs the chapel now.
She has been for a few years now, I think. And the magic of your goddess has grown with you over that time. Probably the only solace that you've had. And you've always felt that this feeling from her that things will be okay at some point. She's looking over you.
Yeah. She's always been there. Even when there's no moon, her light still shines. I've probably become very spacey, like almost detached. Like still grounded somewhat, but just a little more spacey, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. Possibly prone to the occasional outburst, but in private. Like, wouldn't let anyone else see it, though.
So, got it. So this day, the reason we come back to this day at this time is because 8 years later it marks the date that the carnival is scheduled to return. And it's supposed to return this evening. The group of you know that's something with your parents and with your friend, that the carnival had something to do with it. You don't know exactly what. And like I said, some of these memories are very hazy. You do remember having fun at the carnival and having a great night until you got caught by your parents. And then the things that happened afterwards, it's the longer the time has kind of passed, the harder it is for you to sort of connect those two things together. The only thing I think that gives you real concern is just this feeling that you've lost something, and you felt like you lost it at the carnival. And for Thorn, over that period of time, it didn't take you too long to sort of figure it out. In fact, the morning after the carnival, your friends found you in your bed shivering from hypothermia, and that you had left the window open, you hadn't gotten into bed, and a chill had come in and made you very sick. And it didn't take you very long to realize that you couldn't feel it. You couldn't feel the cold. And the next day that you worked at the forge, you ended up burning yourself pretty badly because you didn't realize you'd picked up a hot poker without a glove. So you have like all these kind of like scars like all over your body from like these incidents where, especially working at the forge, things, you've hurt yourself multiple times, and you have to be very careful in certain situations where you might be exposed to extreme heat or extreme cold.
I imagine at this point he's gotten more adept at knowing his limits and knowing what he can do and what he can't do and being conscious of it. And he's kind of more comfortable closer to the heat than most of the other people who work there. Because other people would be uncomfortable standing right next to the forge. But as long as he's not burning himself, and he has to visually check to make sure he's not, it doesn't bother him. So he gets right up next to the fire, sticks his hand right in the fire sometimes.
Yeah, you've become kind of hardened, I think, because of that as well. You don't feel it, but it still like affects you. At the end of the day, if you've been too close to it for too long, if you're not careful, there are still ramifications. But the rest of the dwarf that runs the forge, just, he calls you Ironhide because you never, you can stand there for hours and you'll just keep working. But like I said, this is the day that the carnival is returning, and that you suspect that the things you've lost are tied to it. What are your thoughts together? Do you think you've discussed this amongst yourselves at all?
I don't think Tana would not talk about it. Like, I think she's gotten
That's
a little
3
bit
negatives.
nutty on it. I know.
You don't think she's not talked to, so she
I know.
has?
There were some problems with that sentence.
There would be no math.
Is that triple or quadruple negative? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I married an English teacher. That poor bastard.
You're doing this to torture him on purpose, is what's happening.
Yeah, you know what?
Figure this one
our
out.
lives.
I think Tana will maybe went a little bit nutty with it, and she's got like journals, and she's got like string. She's like trying to put the pieces together.
She's got like full on carnival conspiracy theories.
I'm just like picturing Charlie from Always Sunny with the map and the red strings and everything.
It's like behind a tapestry, so nobody thinks she's too crazy, but she's definitely.
So she's hiding it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, she doesn't.
It's even more level-headed that way.
Well, she doesn't want to worry Morgana. Which talk about the carnival, so mostly she talks about it with the other children.
Yeah, and Morgana doesn't want to talk about the carnival at all. In fact, anytime any of you sort of bring it up, she's quick to shut down that any sort of conversation about it. She doesn't necessarily blame the carnival itself, but it seems as if she's blaming that event. Like that's the moment where everything went wrong. Like that night at the carnival is when her life got changed, forever. So how much? So Tana has sort of like, like you see, she's got this conspiracy board. Has she brought in like Sylfira and Thorn into this and involved the two of them?
Probably. Whether or not they wanted to be brought into that is up to them.
I think Thorn gets a really worried look on his face anytime you bring it up. So, I don't know, you might stop bringing it up at some point.
I don't know, she's got a board. It's not the sort of thing you just give up on, I think, once it's gotten to that point. What about Sylfira? Does she...
I think Sylfira is absolutely on board with this chaotic board of mystery and conspiracy. And Sylfira would be very, very set on trying to find her father and just a memory of her mother. Like, she has already kind of accepted the fact that her mother's probably dead, but she's not going to rest until she at least remembers her name.
Okay. Now, it sounds as if Sylfira doesn't think that her father is actually dead.
There's a level of detachment that says about her when she talks about it that says that she's probably come to the acceptance or already worked through that scenario enough times where she doesn't seem to be too bothered by it, but still you can kind of maybe get an undercurrent the more that she talks about it, that she's still driven to find her father. She still believes he's alive.
All right, so Tana, you're not the only one that might be a little crazy. Sylfira still talks about her father as if he's still around somewhere and she's going to find him. And every time you hear that, you just think about your conspiracy board, which has a little graveyard marker on it. But your conspiracies, maybe you're not convinced that they're dead either. There's too many gaps in your memories about that night and what happened, and it was sort of too quickly closed. Morgana was too easily accepting of that night and what happened since. But let's move on from this morning and into the day. Sylfira, do you go then to the chapel and basically to work, I'm assuming?
Yep.
Tending to anyone that is maybe injured, and right now there's no recently dead that need to be interred, so you don't have to deal with any sort of funerals coming up. But you spend sort of a quiet day at the chapel, tending to your business. Thorn, same thing. You are working hard at the forge. Tana, you are left at the manor to basically manage the estate. All by yourself with Morgana, up in her room, and she rarely comes down anymore. She's only in like her 40s, but the age has kind of caught up with her quickly, and she seems older to you now, especially now that you're older. Now that you are an adult, she almost seems ancient in a way, especially since you've seen her grow old, over the years. Have your characters talked about returning to the carnival at all?
Oh, Tana's going.
Tana's going. Has she tried to convince Sylfira to go?
I'm guessing she tried to convince the now grown children to come with her.
All right. The only person I think that is sort of maybe not totally on board would be Thorn. What are Thorn's, when Thorn is approached by Sylfira and Tana about returning to the carnival?
Well, do we want to roleplay that scene?
You can. You can say that at the end of the day that you meet at the Old Boy Tavern, and Sylfira and Tana, they already have a plan to go there.
I think Thorn has been avoiding this conversation. Anytime they start to hint in that direction, he suddenly remembers something important he needs to bring up or something important he needs to do in the other room. So, but now it can't be put off any longer. And he's been thinking about it all day, of course. But,
all right.
If it's going to happen, they need to actually talk to him about it.
All right. So basically the end of the day comes. You guys finish your day's chores and work. You meet for dinner at the Old Boy that evening. It kind of reminds you a little bit of the last time you went to the carnival. People have come to town. The place is busy. There's a lot of folk here. Some that a lot that you don't know. Outsiders that have come because the carnival is arriving. And you guys, now being sort of young adults and maybe almost in a way, authority figures in the village just by default. You have like a table that's been set aside. Maybe you meet here every once in a while. And tonight is one of those special nights where this has been prearranged. So you end up sitting down at this table over a meal. Tana and Sylfira. Thorn is sitting across, and Thorn's been, hesitant, I take it, right, to engage in these ideas? What does Thorn say?
Well, I think first he comes up and has to kind of squeeze his bulk into the bench here next to the table. He's grown bigger since he was 12, but mostly broader shoulders, broader hips, broader belly. Like he's just big. He has to kind of force his bulk in, and he says, he just nods at his friends and gestures at someone to bring a drink.
So, real quick, did we ever track down Birch from Fallvale?
You haven't seen him since that night at the carnival, and he's not here today.
His name is on my board.
Oh yeah, is he
lots of circles around it?
Is he
suspect number one?
Yeah, is he still around the town, and we just haven't run into him in 8 years, or is he?
He's not a local. He was not a local. He was from one of the cities nearby.
Okay.
He was also older too, so who knows? 8 years is a long time when you're in your 50s. Who knows if he's even still able to travel? But he's somebody that you have. He's a person of interest, but he has not yet arrived. You don't know if he's going to or not.
All right. I'm going to keep my eye out because I know the carnival's in town. He showed up last time. I know it was 8 years ago, but I just keep my eye out for that guy. I'm sipping tea because I want my wits about me. And I go, so Thorn, I think you know what me and Sylfira want to talk to you about. And I understand why you're feeling hesitant. But we really would like you to come with us so that maybe something could trigger in your memory about the carnival. We know that we're all a little bit fuzzy about what happened that night, and I think if we're all there together at the same place, something might jog in our memory,
or we'll find that Bertram fella, and we can maybe put some of this to rest. And if we don't find anything, it's fine. It's like, it's whatever. But I would really appreciate it if you'd come with us, and we'll keep you safe, and you'll keep us safe, right?
Thorn kind of examines some of the fresh burns that he has on his knuckles from the day's work, maybe getting a little too close to the fire. And he says, was it a frog, Tana? I can't remember anymore.
It's more like a blur. It was so fast. That's all I remember. It did croak, but I don't know if it was a frog.
I can't remember if it said ribbit or ticket.
I don't remember what it said.
Well, if you're going, I'm coming with you. I won't. You can't stop me. Well,
I don't think we would try, Thorn.
I'm just. What if we don't come back? And Morgana.
I know. We won't leave her alone. We're just going to go check it out together. We're going to come right back. We'll take care of Mom. And maybe we can maybe we could figure something out. Listen, they didn't want us to go to the carnival last time. Maybe because they knew something like this was going to happen. She doesn't want to talk about it, but there's something going on.
Well, then
I'm not crazy.
Why'd they go?
I don't know.
Why'd they go back?
Exactly. These are the questions. I know that you don't want to talk about it, but all we have are questions.
We have no answers. And on this darkened path, we won't find any way to truth. We have to at least try.
And we're a little bit more spry now. We're not kids. We're grown people. We can handle it.
He sort of flexes a big hand looking at it and says, yeah, I guess that's so.
And we're going to be sure to buy our tickets. We're not going to get them from some stranger like we did last time.
There's a few folk I'd like to have some words with.
Oh, I hear you. All right, so we're in agreement?
Yes.
I may have thought you thought about this a little too much over the years. But it's not over the years anymore. It's back. It's here.
The moment I've been waiting for. Training for.
Tana, I'm a little scared.
I get that, but remember, we'll be with you the whole way.
Let's keep it like that.
I pat his hand, avoiding the knuckles.
As you're patting his hands and trying to comfort Thorn, the door to the Old Boy Tavern opens somewhat suddenly, and a couple people kind of hop out of the way as the door kind of slams. And you see standing in the door a figure. It looks a little bit familiar to you. Sam, what does Sam look like 8 years later?
Tall, rakish, clothing, pretty fancy. Maybe a little over the top. Rakish wave of red hair, some scraggly little chin hair that he can't quite grow a beard with.
Feeling called out.
I have to draw inspiration from somewhere.
Oh,
I think Brandon Sylfira is owed some inspiration for that dig, and let's give inspiration to Chad for digging.
Bam, bam. One for one.
And kind of look around the room. I was like, "That's my boy." And as the waitress is, bringing over Thorn's mug, I'll just intercept chat. One for my friend as well, please. And I'll just take a seat down at the table. Hi, guys. What I missed?
Sam,
Yeah.
where have you been?
Oh, so many stories. How much time have we had? Did you
Sam!
Oh! Gently, just spill up a drink.
There's a bit of a delayed reaction, but he stands up and just engulfs you in this huge bear hug.
Gently.
Tana's
Damn.
just gonna start openly weeping. Just
And I'll go over and give her a big hug.
Sam doesn't
And then
know
what?
this, but this is the first time Thorn has smiled like this since Sam disappeared.
Oh, you
Sam.
guys. Yes.
Sam, we thought you were dead. What
I'm here
happened?
to prove I'm not.
we, and I hit you in the side of the arm, thought you were dead and gone just like Mom.
No. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine. I'm about Mom, though. We should probably have a chat at some point. I don't know if this is the time and the place for it, but, I mean,
The chapel is quiet and peaceful at the moment. Perhaps we can speak there.
Sure. I mean, let's all calm down. Let's, finish our drinks.
Just tell us, Sam.
Well, I can tell you that Mom is alive. And your father, Sylfira.
You see, emotion hit Sylfira like a truck for the first time in years.
Yeah, they're alive. They're alive. They've been along.
Where?
Not from a moment of the years, really.
Where?
Well, look, why don't you guys come to the carnival on me? We can walk around and I'll explain everything. Or as much as I can, because there is a lot, and a lot of it gets weird.
Where,
Are you part-
Sam?
So Sam, you're trying to remember the where and the when, and you had a firm grasp on it just recently, maybe 40 minutes ago or so, when you were running down the road in the direction of Glen Hollow, but it's fading so fast from you. Like, you know that the two of them are alive. You know that the carnival is the way to find them. But all these details are just sort of slipping from your mind, and you realize that, well, for one, like under this cloak that you've got your butterfly wings, the wings that they gave you, and you sort of feel them kind of hanging heavier on your back, and you realize that you've been away too long.
Ooh, what is in this drink? Ooh, that is quite strong. Well, all right. Anyway, here are some tickets for the show. And I have some very important things that I need to go take care of. So I need to get back. But it's great to see you guys. I hope I see you tonight.
As you hand me the ticket, Sylfira takes the ticket and then grabs your hand gently and looks you dead in the eyes with those cloudy white Aasimar eyes, and she says, "Do you work with the carnival now? Are you part of the carnival?"
Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, this beer is really strong. But yeah, I do. But come, let me show you. Everything will be made a little bit more clear.
All right. Well, we're coming.
Okay.
We're coming.
Let's go.
Pepper you with too many questions about your miraculous.
Yeah, there's a lot. I just I got to find the right place and the right time to where to begin the thread.
Fine.
I try to get the attention of the waitress and say, "Hold my drink." And I stand up and tighten my belt, put my jacket on. What are we waiting for?
That's the Thorn I know.
Yeah.
Grab my
go.
big supplies, looking suspicious, but also.
You've gotten really strong. Those are some good punches.
I've been practicing.
It shows. Look at you big lug. You just did you set yourself on fire?
A little. I look at the burnt knuckles. It's just good I don't have any hair to burn. It would have been gone long ago.
Yeah, you're not going to catch on fire now. I mean, I worked hard on this quaff.
Well, I just don't feel cold or heat so well anymore.
He's got a little bit of a disability. We tend to help him with stuff. I make sure he doesn't go near the teapot. Things of that nature.
The smith calls me Ironhide.
Ooh, that's a great name.
Yeah.
Nobody told Thorn that there's probably about 50 million dwarves by the name of Ironhide out there.
Nobody told Thorn.
Nobody told Thorn that. There's only one dwarf in this town, and he gave you the name. You think it's super special. If you ever go to a big city, you're going to be disappointed. All right, so you guys get up from this table, and you head out in the direction. You know that the every 8 years, as far as you know, the carnival has set up in the same spot just north of Glen Hollow, and it always sets up just as the sun is setting in the evening. No sooner than that, and Sam, you lead them out and head them, heading north out of the village, and a lot of other people at this point have started to kind of make their ways there as well. In fact, it's almost like a tailgating party. By the time you get to where this location is, there's a crowd that has gathered. Probably a couple hundred people. Some of them, kind of hanging out amongst the trees and near the road. Some of them have brought wagons of their own. And as you get to this spot, Sam, you're looking, and the sun is going down, and you realize that it should have kind of arrived by now. In that it's very odd for the carnival to arrive late, even like a few minutes late. Just very unusual. And as you're waiting for this moment to arrive, this weird feeling is still kind of nagging at you, and you feel like kind of on your back, that itch where these wings under the cloak are just drooping further and becoming. You can just sense the color in them fading as time is passing, and you feel almost in your mind this sort of like tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, and with every moment that passes, more of the carnival and memories of it are slipping from your mind. You remember like a lot still, but like faces and names, things like that are becoming harder for you to recall. How is Sam reacting to this? Is he reacting?
Yeah, well, I think I'm getting a little antsy. I'm like, you guys wait here. I'm just going to go, make sure everything's okay, and kind of like looking around, trying to see if I can feel or sense what's going on. but just kind of confused and bewildered, like, this? I haven't felt this in a long time.
Yeah, so Sam is acting very sort of strange suddenly. You've gone out into this. There's sort of a little bit of a clearing area where it has arrived before, and it arrives by magic. It doesn't sort of just roll down the road and start setting up. There's a whole process to it, and it runs like clockwork, and you know that for certain. But then, still in your mind, you feel like this time passing, and you know that it can't be late. It shouldn't be late, and it's just weighing on you, like something's wrong.
I'm like crouching behind people and poking out from behind them, and like trying to look sideways at things, sort of like I'm looking for an SCP field.
What's wrong, Sam?
It should be here by now.
Where do you think it is?
I can't remember. I don't know.
That I've gotten from people in town. They always say it arrives exactly on time every 8 years.
Yeah. It always arrives exactly when it's supposed to. Something's very wrong.
Should we leave?
You know that if you leave, and it does come, there's no place else for you to go. There's no other way to get there.
I mean, let's, maybe, something happened and they're just going to be a little late. So, I mean, if you guys want to go back and do whatever you got to do, fine. But I'm going to wait here.
We are not going anywhere without you. Here, we'll picnic it. And I take my cloak out and I put it on the grass and I said, we'll just wait. We'll just wait to see when it gets here.
And I take my cloak off.
Where the heck you been?
I take my cloak off and, like, can they see the wings?
Yeah. I mean, they're not real wings. They are they're the wings that are given to every Witchlight hand. They're finer made than like the ones that you would pick up at the ticket booth. But you see on his back like these silk wings that are sort of strapped to his shoulders, very well made. And you're reminded this memory, this distinct memory comes back of seeing the hands at the carnival wearing similar kinds of wings. These look very dull and drab, though. They're not colorful like the ones you remember. They're fading to tones of like gray and brown right before your eyes.
Oh, that can't be good. I'm gonna like undo the straps and sit down on the ground and just hold them in front of me, just sort of examining them, trying to see what's going on.
All right. As you're sitting there kind of looking at them, trying to figure this whole thing out, this sort of gloom just settles upon you. And you find yourself kind of just depressed. Like you don't know what went wrong. It should be here. That it's never late. And just as you're about to give up in the sky, Sylfira, you always have your eye, up in the sky looking for stars and the moon and kind of tracking celestial spheres and things like that. And you see a star moving suddenly in the sky high above. It's going across the sky just kind of really slowly and growing brighter. And then that star turns and kind of comes in an arc and seems to be coming in your direction. And as it does, it breaks off into other little stars. And those stars, as they grow close enough, you realize that they are different wagons and animals that are drawing these wagons. There's a glow and like you remember the pixie dust from the Pixies as they flew by, and all of these wagons are sort of like this dust is trailing behind them as they suddenly arrive and soar over the group that has arrived waiting for the carnival.
I'm going to point up as they're coming down and point them out to everybody.
At this point, everybody sees them, and Sam, you glance up at these at this event, and you realize that you can't recall seeing this before. Like it feels somewhat new to you, but also at the same time, there's this sort of like deja vu. Like have you seen this before? And they race overhead, and then they turn, and as they do, they begin circling this glade, and you see a couple trees at the far side that are bending towards one another, and they become this arch. And then this mist pours through this arch, and more caravans begin coming out. And as they do, they begin spreading out into this glade, and amongst them, you see this treant, a walking tree, arrive. There's a tree that's like right sort of in the way of where these wagons is supposed to be, and as the wagon stops, the treant comes forward and gestures to the tree, and the tree stands up and just marches out of the way, making room for the carnival to begin setting up. These wagons you see, as they finally settle into their positions, they begin unfolding, kind of like a puzzle book, into these larger events. You see tents kind of springing up from them. You see performers kind of running out, stilt walkers, acrobats, fairies, anything you can imagine that carnival would have. They begin just pouring out of this archway. The people around you have all begun clapping and cheering as the carnival begins setting up. Right before you, a group of men and women with these wings, these colorful wings, come running through, and they have this giant blue ribbon with them, and they're kind of running the glade in sort of this weird winding path, and you realize that they're running in the path of the river that you remember seeing before. And a moment later, you see this ribbon, as it settles onto the ground, becomes a river, and they kind of run off into the trees and around the entire circle area where the carnival is going to be, and everywhere they go with this ribbon, this river comes into being. You watch for about 40 minutes or so as this carnival is set up, and suddenly at the end, all these lights kind of raise up as the last of the spires of the grand big top tent in the center comes into being, just rises up behind the other wagons. Then a light comes on at this ticket booth on the far side of this arch, and you see this wizened old goblin sitting in a chair with a spyglass in one hand, a little hoop thing in the other. And he takes the hoop and puts it to his mouth and says, "Come on, come all, join the carnival, come and get your tickets. The Witchlight Carnival has arrived." And people begin streaming towards the entrance. There's like a giant crowd. Stan, you're just kind of sitting here on the grass, feeling a little lost. Like, you've spent time inside there. There's weird, vague memories of it, but you remember that there was a rule. There was a rule for the Witchlight Hands, that when you leave the carnival, you only have an hour before you can return. You thought you had time. You timed it because you know that the carnival it works on a schedule that it has, in your time with it, never broken, with the exception of tonight, where it arrived about 10 minutes late. It means that you are no longer officially a Witchlight Hand, and some of the benefits of being one have been lost.
Well, bugger. I suppose we should head inside.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go inside.
What's wrong, Sam?
They were late. I can't go back.
What?
I'm I'm no longer part of the carnival.
Because they were late? Isn't that on them?
It's the rules.
Some pretty funny rules, this carnival, and I have some people I need to speak to.
Perhaps we can add it to the list.
Well, let's get some tickets. Let's get inside, and maybe somebody will remember you, Sam. They can help us out.
I put my hand on your shoulder and say, well, that means you can stay with us, right?
I mean, I guess so.
Oh, you're not getting rid of us.
I honestly don't know what happens next.
You'll always have a home with us, Sam.
I know. And that means a lot. But, yeah, I don't know.
It'll be okay. Figure this out.
Just put one foot in front of the other, and you'll get through it.
All right, well, then I guess we go back in as guests. Yeah.
You stand up and begin making your way towards the entranceway and the ticket booth, where you are most likely going to have to spend your money to get in. Sam, you have one ticket with you. You don't even remember where you got it or how you got it, but you feel like it still belongs to you.
Passed out tickets.
He was going to. Let's jump back there. He wouldn't have had a bunch with him. You still need to sort of purchase your own. He had one but that was his. And your ticket is actually a little bit different than the ones that you see being handed out to the crowd. So there is something you're trying to remember, Sam, about the rules, and you know you're missing a few, and that there are some that you're just misremembering, or maybe not remembering at all. But the carnival itself is a tricky place. It can be cruel, but it can also be very entertaining. It is sort of a double-edged sword. As you begin making your way towards the entrance, you can hear in the distance the sound of the calliope. You remember a little monkey turning a handle, playing music from the back of a wagon. And you think you remember that monkey's name, Sam? Remember, his name was Ernest.
Ernest, yeah, that's right. Right, Ernest, yeah. Hey, Ernest. Can we chat?
So first of all, you need to get into the carnival. The others need to buy their tickets, get their wings, and you are approaching the ticket counter to get those. Ernest is not too far beyond, but we're going to get to Ernest next week, because I think we're just about out of time tonight. And this is where I end, with you guys returning to the carnival 8 years after it took so much from you.
Wow. This takes me
Sylfira
back.
standing in line, looking at the cotton candy booth.
And the cotton candy booth is just beyond the ticket counter. You can see it there. You see two
I'm not
kids
even looking at anyone else. I'm just...
So interestingly enough, there is this dark period, that this reminds you of dark things, but at the same time, Sylfira, when you're looking at this candy floss in the distance, you feel some sort of childish joy there. Something's waiting for you. Nothing can stop you from getting it this time.
Yeah.
It's just right over there, just a walk away. And you have
I got my chainmail, I got my Morning Star, I got Guiding Bolt, get the fuck out of
the way. We'll destroy this carnival to get your candy floss. The candy floss emperor or whatnot.
Yeah, talk about an alignment shift.
What happened? Why did he turn so dark? Why did you turn so dark? Candy floss.
Okay.
All right. That's where we'll end it for tonight.
Wow.
And next week we will come back.
Thanks for everybody who jumped in to watch.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks for
everyone.
watching. That was a heck of a
Come back
ride,
next
Rob.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
That was a
thank
heck
you,
of a
Rob.
ride.
Well, you haven't even hit the rides yet. Next week.
Wow.
Do they upgrade the dragonflies at least?
What's that? Do they
Do
what?
they upgrade the dragonflies at least?
You have to find out.
I feel like that was like the bumper cars. You get one that's really fast and then one that just kind of always goes to the right.
No, this is more like I felt like this is more like the Dragon Ball is a little bit like the pony rides for kids. Like when the adults go, they get like the real ones that actually move, and then like the kids, they just sort of like they grab the pink seat one and they just here you go. And it just goes real slow. You have no control over it whatsoever. Occasionally, it just stops and stands there, and a child cries.
God.
This will be fun. Tana's going to go try to talk to a manager.
Oh my god, I can't wait to see that conversation.
I will back you up.
You're gonna have the crew with you.
You guys are gonna get thrown out in the first 5 minutes. You can see it now. All right, next game. 8 years later. So, 16 years ago, you went to the carnival as children. 8 years ago, you went as adults and got thrown out.
And then if we mess it up that time, we'll have another chance 8 years later.
200 years
we're gonna be
later,
playing
Ken
our
is the
own
only one left.
We're all like geriatric and old, like
Yeah,
Turn it
geriatric and
out.
old. Tana comes up, and the goblin's still there at the ticket counter. He's like, "Let me guess, you want to see the manager?"
You know
damn
that.
right.
Oh man.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
Good night, everybody.
Good
All right.
night.
Good night.
Good night.
See you next time.